So this is example number 12. I have one more after this for section 3.4. And this is about as difficult as they get. If we were in class, I would tell you this might take up about half a page of paper, maybe more, simply because there's two radical symbols. And it does make the problem basically twice as much work. So the basic procedure is to get one of the radical symbols by itself. So I usually just add or subtract one of those radical symbols to the other side. That's going to give you the square root of 3x plus 1 on the left, and on the right we end up with this expression. Okay, so then the next step would be to square both sides. Well, that's nice. On the left, it gets rid of the radical for you there, but this one is a gigantic mess. So you have 1 plus the square root of x plus 4 times itself. Again, it's still just foiling that you've done many, many times. The left side is just still going to be 3x plus 1, and we start multiplying. So 1 times the square root of x plus 4 is just the square root of x plus 4. Same thing here. And then this one comes out to be x plus 4. Square root of x plus 4 times itself is just x plus 4. You don't have to write this part down, but on the side of the board I would say, well, the square root of 5 times the square root of 5 is just the square root of 25, right? And the square root of 25 is just 5. So you end up with the same thing you started with underneath the radical. So that's the justification for this one. Square root of x plus 4 times itself, square root of x plus 4 times the square root of x plus 4 just gives you this x plus 4 right here. Okay, so be careful, be careful on your signs and all that stuff, but that's the basic procedure for this. Now we're less than halfway done. We'll subtract 1 from both sides, subtract 4 from both sides. These go away, these go away. Subtract x from both sides, those go away. So you end up with, on the left, 2x minus 4, it looks like. These actually are like terms. You have x square root of x plus 4 plus square root of x plus 4 equals 2 square root of x plus 4s. That's like having a 1 of something plus 1 of something else adds up to 2 of those. Okay, so now it's quite a bit simpler. I would personally vote to get rid of the 2 in front of there first. You don't have to do this step, but it's going to make things easier later if you reduce things earlier. It alleviates some issues later with really big numbers. So now the problem is much simpler than what we started with. So now we've got this other radical by itself. We can just square both sides to get rid of that. So we're squaring the square root of x plus 4. Well, that's the easy part. That's just x plus 4. This becomes x minus 2 times itself. So again, you've done that many, many times. I'll skip a step there, but that's what you get. X squared minus 4x plus 4 is equal to x minus 4. So or x plus 4 on the left or on the right. So we are left with a quadratic again. We just need to combine like terms. You get x squared minus 5x. These canceled off. You get 0. And again, it's a quadratic. I know it may not look like it, but it's a quadratic. If you want to use the quadratic formula, that's fine. But factoring is always my preference for something like this. So we end up with two possible answers, x equals 0 and x equals 5. Remember, you do need to check these. So occasionally you'll go through these problems and you do all the work, but when you check it, the solution doesn't actually work out. So let's check the 0 in the original. Well, that's just 0 there, so this is going to be the square root of 1, and this is going to be the square root of 4. Well, that's 1 plus 2. Does 1 plus 2 equal 1? No. So that answer was no good. So the 0 didn't work. Now we go back and we check the other one. Usually one of them is going to work, usually. So now we're going to check the 5 into those two empty spots. So this is going to be the square root of 16. Well, square root of 16 is 4. This is going to be the square root of 9. The square root of 9 is 3. 4 minus 3 is 1, so that one checked off. So this one only has one solution, x equals 5.